to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. We really want to thank every single person that has subscribed to this channel. Make sure you've also hit that notification button, beloveds, so that you find out every single time we unleash a new episode. Thanks to every single person that supports us on Patreon and for all the wonderful, spiritual conversations that we have on that platform that kind of really confirm that, we've hit that tipping point. We've hit that tipping point, beloveds, and we are well on our way to our true liberation, reformation, and restoration. But, as I said, we have to reconcile with the fact that many will make it because they allowed the Babylon system to saturate them. And so they have totally lost themselves in the process. But those are stories for other days. Several people have reached out to me about the Amazon Africa headquarters, which was approved in April. And basically, it's supposed to be built on a sacred African site for, our ancestors. And there's actually a legal battle brewing, beloveds, because the South Africans, indigenous Khoisan, who have, there's records of them existing for thousands and thousands of years. They say that the place where the Amazon is setting up their African headquarters in Cape Town is actually resting on, on some very sacred land. It lies on the battlefield in which the Khoi defended the territory from Portuguese colonizers all the way back in 1510. And one of the chiefs, the paramount chief, Aaron Goringa-Chiona, I don't know if I said that right, he said, our heritage will be completely wiped out. There is so much spiritual significance to this place. And the crazy thing is, beloveds, this place was actually protected. It had been under some special 2-year heritage site protection, and then that just ended, and then that's the only land Amazon can find in South Africa. Do you see what they're doing, beloveds? And with this, they would have to dig up so many of our ancestral spirits. You think that's by accident that they want to put a foundation on our ancestors? And I'm telling you, there's some kind of spiritual onslaught happening, in South Africa, beloveds. It's like, the Muzungus flipped out when, the indigenous people wanted their land back. But out of all the land everywhere, Amazon just happens to be building their headquarters on a sacred ancestral site. Are you starting to see the patterns of how these people operate? Nothing is by accident. And all these, the Amazons, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the YouTubes, you should look at them as CIA operations, beloveds. It's not about bringing us together. It's not about opening up a big company. Because, the whole thing that they're saying now, but I'm loving it because people are seeing through the, Ramaphosa's mafia freaking government. And people are starting to see the lies, because they're saying we're going to create, I don't know how many jobs, 900 jobs at the end, and 70,000 jobs in the intermediate, and it's going to do 5,239 jobs. I love the way they get so accurate, 239, not 241. They're playing us, beloveds. And really, I'm just sending my energy and support, to our brothers and sisters in South Africa, from the Khoisan community, that they may win this petition, because Amazon was approached and they refused to comment. Oh my God, we don't know what we're doing. We just, this is the perfect site with a lovely little river by it. These people are operating, but I'm telling you, something is happening in South Africa. So let's definitely keep South Africa in our prayers and affirmations and meditation, because it's like there's some battle brewing with everything that's been happening. After it was confirmed that the queen of the Zulu nation was actually, allegedly poisoned, and there's been, so much. And then I think the crown prince, his security was withdrawn. I kind of stopped following the story there. And then now all of a sudden, Amazon. And how is it that this place was under like a quarantine for 2 years? Then barely a month after, the Cape Town people have already, and then they're saying, some were saying, oh, we don't understand why the people are so offended, because they're going to get to build a little, they're going to have an indigenous center, and they're going to have their little healing garden. So literally they're at the center of the whole thing. So an indigenous garden and a healing center. You think they won't be taking your information? Or the other way around, indigenous center and healing garden. And they'll be making billions a year, but you have that little thing. These things aren't happening by accident, beloveds. All of these people, none of the big corporations move just anyhow. All of them use wizardry and sorcery, beloveds. They're part of the board. They're part of the team. Because explain to me why you would find out you're about to construct on a sacred site, and you find out and you still continue. You're still bulldozing your way ahead. It means it was intentional. So I haven't seen any kind of petition or anything. I don't know what's going to happen next, but really, I'm standing with our people in South Africa. And, it's so. There's even a comment that the High Commissioner for the Goringai Kona Council, he said, going onto someone's sacred terrain and building something on top of it, saying we're going to offer employment in doing so, is a morose and sick form of arguing the notion of job development. You don't employ the descendants of the Khoi Khoi and San to dig up their ancestors' graves. I'm so glad this matrix is over. These people are so irresponsible. They're such spiritual children, beloveds. I'm glad the ancient ones are back. Because this is crazy. But as I told you, the ancestors, the ancient ones, are back in living form. We're connected to them again. So even if they build on our sacred sites, the power isn't even there anymore. It will actually work against them. And to the Khoi San, call on your ancestors, call on the spirit of your ancestors. I think this is about that time. And you see, there's been so much. That's why I'm saying there's something happening in South Africa, beloveds. Because there was also this thing where, they were going to have an ancestral day of prayer. And this Muzungu came out and released a statement where he was like, they're calling on their demons. Let's all go to church and make sure, and burn this whole, special day down. There's a great spiritual battle going on in South Africa. And we just add our prayers and our best wishes and our, spiritual power to the total liberation of our people. How can you hire someone to dig up the graves of their ancestors, man? Tu kopa moja.